Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would like to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz and Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz and Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Hollis Citron. She's the owner and founder of I Am Creative and also the owner and founder of Express Yourself Publishing. How you doing today, Hollis? Thank you for being here.
I am good. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I really appreciate it.
It is my honor and my pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time to be here today and share a little bit about your story and your journey with us today. So thank you. I appreciate you. So let's jump right in. Hollis, as I mentioned, you're the owner and founder of I Am Creative. You are the owner and founder of Express Yourself Publishing. I see a theme here, or a common thread, expressing yourself and finding your own creative voice. What does creativity mean to you? How do you define that word?
I define it as your voice and your expression. It's basically how you show up. It's who you are. It's on a deeper level, just all these aspects of yourself. Yeah. So one of my taglines is it goes beyond a pencil and a paintbrush. And my mission is just really so much. I'm so passionate about helping people see and understand that it is not about, yes, there are the there are the people that's their thing and they express themselves in that way. And that's wonderful. But I'm here to expand this definition so people can see themselves within it. And because it's really empowering.
Absolutely. Now, you say you're on a mission to make creativity accessible to everyone by exposing new possibilities. Why have you decided to make this your personal mission, and why is it so personally important to you?
So as far as titles go, I have been an art teacher for 30 years. Okay. So I have taught in many, many different spaces with literally ages from 2 to 100. I didn't know I was going to go into this. It kind of found me, and it just is very natural. And I've always been there, per se, for the underdog. It's just always been who I am and what I stand for. So I feel like creativity, using that word, but I'm going to kind of replace it with the word expression, is within everyone. And I'm just so passionate about empowering people because I've seen people's lives change because of it. My life has changed because of it. But in all of the people that I've interacted with over all of these years in all of these settings, my teachings have not always been in the traditional spaces of the public, private, or charter schools. That is a portion of it. I've done like artist in residencies, professional developments, working in homeless shelters. I've worked in lots of alternative kind of spaces and having my own businesses besides this one. So it's just, I get so excited and so lit up when I see that, it's kind of cheesy to say, but that light bulb go on. But it's real. It's real because I know you've seen it too.
Yes, absolutely. It's an incredible thing to witness. It's hard to put into words, but it is truly beautiful when you see someone's light go on, the light in their eyes go on. It's an amazing feeling to know that you had a hand in that, in helping that light bulb turn on. It's really, truly amazing.
And they literally stand up straighter or sit up straighter, whichever it is. Like there's a change in posture. There's a change in how you hold your head, because the body language is if we're feeling not so great, there's literally an internal motion. But when you're feeling more confident and when you're feeling like you actually have purpose and something to offer to the world, which is really what we're searching for, we're physically and emotionally and spiritually more open.
Yeah, that shift, definitely. Now, you mentioned your mantra, creativity goes beyond the pencil and paint. What does that mean to you? And how do you live by that mantra?
again, being an art teacher and all of that kind of stuff, and you say your niceties of what you do, people immediately are just like, there would be like a physical shift of, I don't know how to draw or paint.
Yeah.
like, because that's societally so much of what represents being a quote unquote artist or a creative person.
Right.
So I went to art school and I'm not great at drawing and painting. Like, that's not my expression. I'm more three-dimensional. I actually studied ceramics.
Okay.
But that's kind of where it comes from. Is, first of all, it came in a download, that mantra. I was meditating one day and it came to me in a download. But that's what it represents, is for people to understand that it's a more expansive definition. And I live it by really just recognizing that every moment is an expression. It's like literally waking up, what clothes I decided to put on my body, what my morning routine might look like, what my hair looks like, if I'm wearing makeup, if I'm not wearing makeup, what kind of earrings am I going to wear today? Because I love earrings, and earrings are like, what am I feeling? How am I going to express today? And what drink am I going to make in the morning? And it's just, I could go on and on, but each of those moments is an expression of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know you had your own personal experience in art school when you were a student with one of your teachers. Can you share a bit about that and what kind of effect that had on you? And did it make you want to never create art again, or did it just add fuel and make you want to show them that, hey, I can do this and I'll show you?
Yeah, thank you for that. So basically, everybody, what happened was freshman year in art school, you need to take foundation. So, which means you have drawing, you have 3D, and then whatever the other one was, 2D design. So they'd be like 6-hour classes and just really intense. So in this drawing class, the teacher, we were drawing from a still life, and she came over to my drawing and she would go around and she'd make corrections right onto your paper. And it just really annoyed me. Yeah. Not because I felt like it was right. I just felt like I wasn't learning if she did it directly on the paper. So I was really shy. I was just kind of like, I just got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. So I was shaking, literally. I was purple. And I said to her, she came over to me and I said, could you please not draw on my paper? Could you do it on another piece and show me? Yeah. And she looked at me and said, I don't think you're good enough to do it on your own. Wow. And then I said, well, I didn't ask you if I was good enough. I just asked you to draw on another piece of paper. Yeah. And then I took a little break because I was literally like, I was shaking here. I was like 19 years old and I'm like standing up to this teacher, and I went into the hallway and all these other people were like, oh, good job saying something. I was like, where were you? Yeah, exactly. You know she does it. You know she does this.
Well, they had to have someone else speak up for them, right? They were probably all feeling the same way as you. They just didn't have the guts like you did.
So I guess, it didn't stop me from doing it. I never saw myself as a wonderful drawer. So as we know, things get kind of planted, seeds get planted, things get said. And this is what I have seen over and over again. And I know you've seen it in your world most probably, is that people get told things when they're younger. And then when we get to be adults, that's usually how professional development goes. They'll say, how many people were told that they weren't good at something? Oh, yeah. And the hands go up. And one person was hysterical to me. It wasn't funny in the moment because he was really, really angry. Yeah. He was in his 40s and he just went back to middle school. And he was just like, my teacher, every piece that I created blew up. And it was only my piece. And he was just, that was his perspective of seeing this, when, as we know, anybody who works with clay, it's not the teachers or whoever is putting it into the kilns. It's not your fault. It's, or there are air bubbles in the clay and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, we resolved that because I was working with clay with him and saying many, many prayers over the kiln, like hoping that it would not blow up and this could be resolved and fixed in this lifetime. And he did get his piece back whole. So that was very good.
Now, what are your thoughts? Because, I mean, you've taught in this arena and you've also attended and been a student. What are your thoughts now on formal and educational training for the arts? Is this something that you feel is absolutely necessary, or are you more of the mind that, you don't need to have that academia training to be an artist.
It's a good question. And I think it varies. Depends on what purposes I think that you are doing it for. I think it is. So let me go back to like school and having art in the schools in general. Yeah. I think it's really, really imperative.
Yeah.
Because it's an expression that needs to be put out there. And even if children or anybody's being resistant, they need the exposure to it.
Right.
I can't say how many times I've had kids who were pushing and pushing and pushing against me. But in the end, they were like, I'll never forget you. So they needed that. So as far as like an art school kind of training, I think if somebody is within that realm of wanting to learn more about it, I think it is a good thing because it's more immersive. You're exposed to more things than you would be on your own, if that is something that you feel is a good fit. If you're kind of like, it is something I want to do more full time, but I want to just kind of do it on my own and do it in my own way, then you do that. If it's something I do once in a while and just kind of take classes here and there or meet up with people that I resonate with and feel like I can learn from or collaborate with, then you do that. So I don't know if that answers exactly. I think it just kind of varies on, it doesn't have to be a one size fits all.
Right. I think that more in the younger formative years, I think that art is very necessary for kids, whether it be music, painting, drawing, all of that stuff. I think that has to be part of the curriculum for sure. I guess I was more gearing it towards after high school, like university or college art classes, as opposed to high school and middle school and elementary school. I think that is the arena where it's absolutely necessary. I think it's an integral part for kids to delve into art and learn how to express themselves through creativity for sure.
Yeah, it is, because you see so many kids who wouldn't necessarily be good in another area really perform well in this, and it empowers them and just kind of changes the trajectory in a lot of different ways because they're seen in a better light. But to answer your question, more so about the after for university, I think it's very much a personal thing. I feel like there's a lot of pressure put on going to university, and I don't think that it has to be. But there are some people that feel like, yes, I want to be. I was happy that I went for undergrad. Right. When I went for grad, that was kind of like, I didn't necessarily honestly need that. But for undergrad, I met wonderful people who really nurtured me and exposed me to a lot of different things that I would not have known.
Now, what set you on this path of creativity and helping people find the creativity within them? How did your journey begin?
Like I said, I think if you go back a little bit further, I guess, if I'm acting like I'm sitting on a therapy chair, not telling all. So my brother is handicapped, and my brother was born with brain damage and cannot speak. Okay. So he's not mute, but there's an impairment in his speaking. Right. So when I gave you my definition of creativity is expression, creativity is your voice, I was always kind of standing up for him. Right. In a sense. And I was always really tiny and ready to beat the heck out of anybody who bothered him, even though he didn't need it. So it's funny when you hear from your friends and things of, I didn't see myself as that artist. I wasn't the class, it annoys me so much when people are like, oh, well, you're the class artist. Oh my God, that makes my skin crawl. Because it's just that categorizing and that labeling. But then hearing from some of my friends, they were like, oh, well, you always did this. You always, did this in this way. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. But I think more so it was a different way of thinking. So even silly little things like going to a movie with my friend, and my friend was like, did you like it? And I was like, I'm not sure. She's like, what do you mean you're not sure? I'm like, because I needed time for it to process and kind of sink in. And then about a day later, I was like, I liked it. She was like what? I'm like, I liked the movie. She's like, you're so weird. So I think there was like always this kind of out of the boxness, this differentness. Right. And then it was just kind of like a journey into the universe presenting that I was going to be teaching. And as much as it scared me, again, because I was so shy, and I was like, I'm going to be in front of people, like sharing this stuff or encouraging them or empowering them, really. And I was like, okay, yeah.
Let's do this.
Let's just do this. And there is one particular story that really, really, it's interesting, these things that happen in your life that I don't even remember his name. And I hope he's still alive, honestly. Yeah. It was in New York and it was in the 90s. And I was doing an artist in residency in this school in Brooklyn. And he was a selective mute. So he never spoke. It was a kindergarten class. Never spoke. So it was an inclusion class. So there was a special ed and a general ed teacher. So I would come in once a week for 3 months and present a project. We'd do hands-on, and then we'd have a sharing time, which was the order of the class. So anyway, long story short, he wanted to share on a particular day. Okay. So he actually raised his hand. One of the teachers was horrible. He was a screamer. That's all he did at them. So you have to imagine 5 and 6 year olds. Yeah. And he was this big towering man that just screamed. So this little boy raised his hand and the teacher said, "You want to talk? You want to talk." Wow. "You never want to talk." He goes, "Fine, talk." I was like, oh my God.
That's horrific.
I'm standing. Isn't that? So I'm standing in the middle of the room and I'm just like, okay, Hollis, I'm in my later 20s. This isn't my class. Yeah. Like I'm trying to figure out how I handle the situation. This poor little boy's body language is completely sinking in. So I went over to him. I picked up his artwork. I held it up and I said, "Who would like to tell him something that they like about his work?" Kids started kind of like commenting. And then we cleaned up and I bent down next to him and I said at the end before I left, I said, "Sweetie, what did you want to say?" And he whispered in my ear, "I like the color blue."
Wow. And this teacher just destroyed him.
Destroyed him. And I just thought, oh my God, this kid got excited about something. Yeah. He wanted to share something. Everything in my world goes back to this. He was trying to express himself. And I hope that he was given like some kind of cushion throughout his life. He lived in a really rough area. I don't know. So it's these moments that going back to the 90s. So that sounds like a really long time ago, but it's just like, 25 years ago with a boy, I don't even remember his name. And I'm like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because nobody should be shut down, because everybody should feel safe and everybody has something to say.
Absolutely. Now, you say that we are born with innate creativity, and this is something I've thought about a lot. When it comes to artists, athletes, musicians, all of that whole world, do you think that are people really just born with a natural ability, or is it something that if you're not born with it, you can learn, like practice and hone and eventually become artistic? I mean, some people are just born with that insane ability to be creative. When I think of musicians like a Beethoven or an Eddie Van Halen or a Picasso, or like they just have it. They don't, not that they don't need to practice, but it's like they're born with a little bit more than everybody else is. They're given that extra special gift. I mean, there are certain athletes, artists, musicians that have an exceptional skill level, which are few and far between. But I think personally, most anyone can be taught and learn and become an artist to a certain degree. But I don't even think that with the practice and the honing the skill, I don't think they can match that skill level that select few in the world that are just born with that natural innate talent. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with what you're saying, is that there are people that are just born with it. I think that if somebody really wants to learn something, I feel like with practice and with trial and error, and I feel like people can gain skills in whatever that is. I have seen people just determination is huge. If somebody really, if you have a mindset of, I really want to do this, I don't know the how, but I really want to get to this point, I feel like you will get there if you are open to it. But I guess I kind of want to go back for like what my mission is that I'm talking to the business person. I'm talking to the scientist. I'm talking to the real estate agent, because I want to see them in this definition of creativity, which they never have seen themselves in. They don't have to come over to the side of the visual arts and the expression in that way. I want them to be able to stand on their feet while they're around a business table, while they're using their communication skills, to be able to realize that they're literally sculpting a scenario because they are using their imagination of an idea that they have and bringing it into formation, that a scientist who is looking through a microscope and creating cures and all of these things, that when they are looking and doing what they're doing, that they can realize that they are in this process of creation and expression. I want to bring them into the definition so they can see them. It's a life changer.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree. It's funny because people, you mentioned scientists and real estate agents and creating and forming these ideas. People don't think of that. When you hear the word art or creativity, people don't think of those people. They think of musicians, actual art, like painters and sculptors and things like that. They don't think about those people. And I would say most people don't think that way, which is very interesting. And that's what you're trying to do in terms of opening up and broadening people's viewpoint on what art and creativity are, an expression of that.
I'm about the expression. Yes, I've had all of this art training and all of this, but this is where I kind of want to bring it in, is bringing it to people. I have this incredible friend who's like a sister, and she is an incredible second grade teacher, like the kind where you would like want your kid to be in that class, because she creates community. She's having the kids use their imagination all of the time. She teaches in alternative ways, like kinesthetically, to really have the kids sensorily, to get the kids to understand and really engage with what they're learning. She's always taken art classes outside. She really enjoys knitting. She enjoys book clubs. She enjoys jewelry classes. Like, she enjoys all these things to better herself and express herself. But she never really felt, she's like, something's missing. But then when she realized that teaching is her creativity, she was like, oh my God, that's like a life changer. She felt like a weight was lifted off her shoulders, because she felt like she was looking for something, which it was there the whole time, but she wasn't acknowledging it. So that's what I'm talking about, is giving people that acknowledgement that what they're doing is so expressive that they don't always, go to those, do those other things because they fill you up, because they're nurturing, but understand that what you're doing is offering a ton out into the world.
Beautiful. I love it. Now, I hear a lot of people say they don't have a creative bone in their bodies. It's just not who they are or within them. What do you say to people that say that to you? How do you deal with that?
Usually it's kind of like meeting people where they are. So it's like, what do you like to do? And, oh, well, I like to skydive. Well, oh my God. Like, that's like, talk about bravery, talk about all the steps that you have to do in order to do that. Like, that's an expression. That's like freedom. Like, how does that feel when you're up there? So it's kind of like I distract people from this whole traditional definition and meet them where they are and get them excited about talking about what they do or what they're interested in. And then their body language changes, and then they start to be like, it's a big shift. Then it's like, if they're in business, oh, well, what do you like about doing that? Do you like talking to people? Do you like the paper aspect? Do you like, the paperwork? I mean, and then say, well, that's actually really expressive. That's your zone. Yeah. That's what creativity is. It's that zone. It's that flow where you lose that aspect of time. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's just a very different way of looking at things that people don't, like I said, people don't normally think. When they think creativity and art and expression, they don't think of scientists or real estate agents or business people for that matter, right? So it's just a very different way. I love it. It's a great way to look at things and help people realize that, you know what, you are creative. It's just in a different way. That's all. It's not your standard art creativity.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I love it. You have spent the last 30 years helping people access their creative expression. Why is this so personally important to you to help people with this?
It's just, when you do something, it just lights you up. It's just, it feels so good. It feels so good to work with people and observe people and just kind of learn from people. And I love that connection. I'm very much about connection and community and wanting to be able to help be part of that process if they're open to it. Even if they're not open to it, still being part of the process. I mean, I had students who would, like this one particular student, he wasn't rude about it, but he would say every day, Miss Citron, I don't want to be here. He's in high school. I'm like, look, can we move past this? Like, you got to
be here. Yeah.
You're here. You're earning, like, you got to get the credit. I get it. I know that you're into sports. Like, that's your thing. So let's like meet in the middle here. So how can we create in order based off of something that you're interested in? I'm not going to keep pushing something on you that you don't want to do. Yeah. But at the same time, you're going to have to meet me somewhere here. Yes. So you tell me more that you're interested in, I will make suggestions because that's not your area per se of thinking.
Yep.
So anyway, he'd start to kind of, get into a groove. And when he graduated, he gave me a hug and he said, I'll never forget you. So
that's powerful.
It's those moments where it was, for me, it felt uphill, uphill, uphill. But then you don't always, which I was very grateful that I actually got to hear and see it. Because as you know, when you're in this space trying to create change and empower people, you don't always hear and see it, the results.
That's right.
So I was very lucky and grateful for him to hear those words exit his mouth. And I just started to cry, of course. And
That's beautiful, though. Powerful. I mean, it's just reinforcement and affirmation that what you're doing makes a difference and it matters. Right.
Yeah.
And that's huge. Because as you said, you don't always see that. You don't get to see the fruits of your labor all the time. So to actually get that feedback and hear it, it's amazing.
I mean, there's like a gazillion stories. Real quickly, there's another girl who, she was rough. I've predominantly worked in underserved communities. So you just didn't know. I only went in every other week to this one particular school. And it was an 8th grade class, and never knew how her behavior was going to be on a particular day. She could break out into a fight or whatever. So they had to create their own business and what they were going to sell. So we did this multi-step process of coming up with the name, drawing it out, and creating a product. And she pulled me over at one point and she said, Miss Citron, I'm just a little stuck. I don't know what to create. I don't know what to call it. So we kind of brainstormed a few things. Then I went up to the front of the class and to get them started. And literally, all of a sudden, she just straightened up and her face just kind of like lit up.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, you have it? And she went, she went, yeah, because I explained it. I'm like, she's like, I just don't know. I said, when you're excited about something and you get that like butterfly feeling in your stomach, that's when you know that you're on the right track or that it feels good. So her body posture and she got it. So again, it was like witnessing, and that's, to me, that's life-changing.
That's it. What would you say is the most challenging part of the work you do, helping people tap into or find their creative voice?
Having people get out of their own way and just see the validity of it.
Yeah.
Because when you hear that word creativity, which honestly, it's kind of like me working to use different words for people to understand, because people put creativity into that box. It's people understanding the validity of how powerful and how important it is for them.
Yeah.
And making time for it, because it's a life changer. So I think that's the biggest challenge, which I am up for, everybody.
That's a huge one, though. I mean, we all get caught in our own heads, and that noise, that internal noise, that's the worst. That's worse than external noise from doubters and haters. And so I think that if you can jump that hurdle of the internal, then you're laughing all the way to the bank. Once you can get past that, the external noise, that's nothing. So that's a walk in the park.
Because how many times have people said to you, or you thought, like, would you be friends with that person? Of how you talk to yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
That person's really mean.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I wouldn't be friends with them.
But we still continue to do it, though.
We do.
Yeah, it's crazy. What inspires you to create art? And when you're creating, where do you pull your inspiration from?
It really varies. I am an observer. So I like to kind of just watch and listen. And things kind of resonate. So for example, I've been creating, for me, outside of creating, every day is, the business and my family and everything, those experiences, my physical artwork that I do as an expression for myself. I realized, I looked back at my sketchbooks from years and years ago, that I was amazed by street signs. And street signs have when I traveled in Europe, I was taking pictures of street signs when I was here in the States. So anyway, I started a series. All of a sudden I was like, well, what am I going to do with them? And how is it going to look? And it's kind of like this process that's just kind of sketch things out, think about it. Well, then all of a sudden I landed on a one-way sign. Okay. And I was like, I really like one-way signs. I was like, why don't I do like a series of 20 one-way signs on these pieces of wood that I found, and make 20 different ones that kind of become more abstract the more I create them in different mediums. It just kind of flows. So it's again, kind of when you get into that state, you lose that sense of time. So it's resonating with that thing that means something. And then it just kind of expands and
organically
turns into
expands.
A whole other thing. Yeah.
Love it. Can you tell us a bit about your I Am Creative business and how long ago you started that?
So 4 years ago, whatever that is, 21, I'm not going to count on my fingers right now. When I left teaching almost 4 years ago, the official classroom. Yeah. So I kind of and I did this because my daughter kind of challenged me. She asked why I was so mad at everything. So when I left and I started I Am Creative, which was like 4 years ago, it was like, I want to work with adults in this whole adulting thing, and why we are so busy all the time and deny ourselves joy and happiness. So I started off with these experiential kits that I create. So ones that can be purchased, ones that I can actually work with somebody. I can talk to somebody and be like, what do you actually enjoy? And create a kit for them that has everything in it, so they don't have to think about it and be overwhelmed. They can just get in and use it. I created a program called Your Creative Shui, which is 7 elements to joy and happiness. So I Am Creative was just creating this space for adults to be able to explore, express, and expand. And then the podcast kind of grew out of it, which I've had for about the same amount of time. It's had a few different iterations. First, it was in writing, then it was Facebook Lives, and now it's a live audio podcast, and which completely supported the mission of expanding the definition. So on the podcast, I have spoken to about 200 people at this point, ranging from physicists, lawyers, doctors, Reiki masters, just everybody.
Oh, damn it.
Asking the same 3 questions.
Creativity.
Asking the same 3 questions. How do you define creativity? Mm-hmm. How do you incorporate it into your life? And why do you think it's important? And I can't tell you how many people have said, well, I've thought about this question and I've never really thought of it that deeply until you asked me about it. And I wasn't exactly sure. But nobody has defined creativity as being a visual artist. Everybody has defined it as something innate and deeper about life. Creativity is courage. Creativity is that magic spark. Creativity is how you show up in the world. Creativity is giving yourself permission to do the things you enjoy.
Interesting. Can you share with us a bit about your publishing company, Express Yourself, and how the journey into the world of writing and publishing came to be for you?
So interesting. So it's been about a little over a year. And I never thought that this was going to be a way that I was going to go. Never. I was in a multi-author book, and I just really loved the community. I loved the space. I loved the opportunity of having 3,000 words to share and not be completely overwhelmed. And all I had to do was write. And it was everything else was taken care of for me. Which I know you're in the process with as well. And it felt so good. And then some time went by. And anyway, to make a long story short, it just kind of presented. And I just felt like, you know what? This is a natural extension of people expressing themselves. And it's very important for me about the safe space for people to have a safe space to feel expressive and be able to share their stories. And it just felt very natural. And I'm just so excited to work with both solo authors and contributors in the multi-author space.
It's amazing. I mean, I never would have dreamed that I would be writing. I mean, writing was something, I wrote blog posts for my photography website and things like that, but it's a very different thing. It's a different world getting into that. But the community that is built and created out of that with all the other authors who are part of a multi-author, it's just an incredible feeling, and the support that you get. And it's absolutely amazing, truly.
And I think it's about, again, this is another space, like you said, you have experience with writing in this particular way. For me, it's people that don't necessarily consider themselves to be writers. It's giving them a chance to realize something more expansive about themselves. Yeah. And realize that they do have a story. And, it's just
that's a big part of it, though, is because you hear so many people say, well, I don't have anything to say. I don't have a story. Yes, everybody on the face of this earth has a story worth hearing. There is somebody out there that will resonate with your story. Not everybody, but there are people out there who will. And that's a huge part of it, is getting over that. And again, that goes back to the internal story that we tell ourselves and the way we speak to ourselves, right? So,
yep, exactly. Couldn't agree more.
What is your favorite form of or way of expressing your creativity?
Again, it depends on the mood. So if it's in the way I'm really working on how I dress to show up more in the way that how I feel inside matches on the outside.
Right.
So that's an example of a way that I want to express myself more creatively. With my hair, at times I went through stages that I had purple in my hair, I had blue in my hair, I had red in my hair, and it would just depend. That was a way of expressing how I was feeling. With my family, there are things that how we interact, things that we do, or if we're hanging out, if we decide to go do something, that's an expression of how we can interact and connect, because it's so much about connection.
For sure.
In all of this, if I'm doing my visual art, then it's what feels good and what I feel like I'm not pushing against, and what's coming, even though it's not always easy per se, but it's like, okay, admittedly, like a few weeks ago, I was just in a mood where I was just getting all caught up in emotion and getting caught up in my head. Yeah. And I was like, stop it, Hollis. Like, grab what I'm working on. Yeah. Sit at my table, put on a romantic comedy that I've seen a gazillion times so I can kind of zone out. Yeah. And just like get into it, like move and get into it. And I felt better. Yeah. Within 5 minutes, all of a sudden I was just like in that state.
You're in the zone.
So it's just in the zone. So whatever that looks like.
To date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
Honestly, having our kids be more open and willing to try new things.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
Sometimes to my detriment, but having empathy. Having empathy and being a listener.
Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does the word success mean to you?
Success means being happy. Success means being authentic. It means showing up for who you are and not caring what other people think, and truly meaning that when you say that. Yeah. Like it's just being and just feeling joy. Like that's success.
That's what life's all about, is finding that joy, finding what makes you happy. We only get one shot at this life, so you might as well do your damn best to make it a good one and be happy while you're doing it. Because there's so many people out there that aren't. They're miserable. And that's sad to me.
Right?
It is.
And it's not always easy. It's not like, I'm not sitting here saying that everything is rainbows and butterflies, because it's not. But it's being able to stand in those moments. And honestly, it's a learning curve and a learning process of standing in those moments and being like, yep, it's kind of a shitstorm. Like there's a lot going on. But
absolutely.
But I feel connection to myself. I feel connection to others that I care about and want to be in my world. I'm surrounded by people. I surround myself by people that lift me up.
Yeah.
That don't bring me down, that can pull me there. I have those 3 people on my phone that I can reach out to and be like, I'm feeling really low right now. I need you. And they're there.
That's important in life for sure, to have that support system. It's so key.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
That even if it scares you, it's learning what that scare means. If it's the scare where it really feels like it's harmful, then you don't do it. Yeah. But if it's that scare that scares the shit out of you, but excites you, then that's where you're like, okay, we're doing this. So it's like when it presented as, when the universe was saying you're going to teach, and I'm like, seriously? And then you're going to do professional developments for up to 40 people on how to incorporate art into the classroom. I'm like, seriously? I turn purple when people look at me. But what would happen was I would make a joke out of it. I got to a point where I'm like, look, if I turn various shades of red, I'm not having a stroke. It's just what happens to me, and let's move on. And people laugh and we're done. Yeah. So it's kind of like these things, which I guess then I realized here, like, I want to speak on stages, and I have this mission where I just want to like get it out to the world. I have a TV show now. It scares the hell out of me, but I'm like, it's bigger than me. It's not about me. Yeah. It's not about me, Hollis. It's about the mission, and it's about how can we do this. So that's been the learning curve in the process.
The bigger purpose.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
This is what just jumped into my head. This is a little different about marriage. My mom said, you're not always going to like them. She said, in fact, sometimes you're going to hate him. Yeah. And sometimes you're going to wonder, why did I marry him? But then he's going to do that thing that reminds you why you did. So my husband and I have been together for 33 years. And that was the best advice to me, because I love romantic comedies, but life is not all a romantic comedy. Yes. And there's a lot of ebbs and flows. And it was just really great to hear those words.
What is your personal motto?
What is my personal motto? What the hell? Just do it.
I love it. What does the word empowerment mean to you, Hollis?
It means authenticity, because you can you're comfortable with who you are. You're comfortable in that way because it has to start with you. So when you feel the power within, then anything can happen, and you can be grounded enough to deal with it and show up. Okay,
we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section here. So the next grouping of questions just be 2, 3, 4 word answer type thing. Okay. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Brave.
How would you like to be remembered?
Giving.
If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
It's a funny story.
What would your family and friends list as a couple of your best characteristics?
Caring, cheerleader, and listener.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
You can do it.
I'm seeing a theme here. What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Love.
What's the first thing you notice about a person?
Their eyes.
If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change?
Disconnection.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. What's an unexpected blessing or occurrence in your life that you're grateful for?
Unexpected. I think actually so much of the pushing against that I had for so long, and me kind of getting caught up in that emotion of it, taught me so much. Because when I was able to kind of separate from that, the lessons were just friggin' huge and has taught me so much.
Who in your life has had the biggest impact on you, and why?
My kids have really had a really big impact on me. And I think because they're mirrors, and I really just learned so much by watching them, and they're very vocal, both of them. So they can really stand up and call me on my shit. And also as to what I'm saying, and they listen to what I'm thinking about and what I say that I want to do. And if I'm not doing it, they're like, what are you doing?
So they're accountability for you.
They really are accountability. And they taught me they really taught me so much.
If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman in the world, any woman, it could be anybody, any woman, who would it be and why?
Yeah, I thought about this, and I thought of a few different people, but then I was like, I'd like to sit down with my grandmother, my mother's mom.
Yeah.
Because I never knew her, and we share a birthday, and I would like to be able to find out information from her for my mom, because my mom doesn't remember much because of childhood stuff. So I'd say my maternal grandmother.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
You're going to do bigger things than you ever thought. You're actually going to get on stages and talk and you're going to be okay.
You got this. You got this.
You got this.
Lastly, Hollis, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, like your corner of the world, your tribe, your people, what would that 30 seconds sound like? What would you say, or what words of wisdom would you impart?
Again, creativity goes beyond the traditional idea, and own your talents, own your voice. You have something to say. You are worthy. You will make impact on you do make impact on so many every day. Just recognize it and use your power for good.
Thank you so much, Hollis. It was an absolutely wonderful conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you, and I'm so grateful to have had you here on the show today and speak with you and learn a bit more about who you are and what you do. I appreciate you taking the time to be here, and I'm honored to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you so much for all that you do. Keep shining your bright, beautiful light onto the world, and thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Brad. And thank you so much for all those kind words and creating the space and being who you are and giving people the safe, nurturing space to feel expressive and to truly listen and hear people and recognize people. And you're wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh. I am your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Hollis Citron. She is the owner and founder of I Am Creative, as well as the owner and founder of Express Yourself Publishing. Thanks so much, Hollis. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everybody.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.